that? What? Bye.
If you spend any time, if you have any time to spend, to contemplate this life, your life, you will surely come to see a great confusion, a great contradiction, a great deception, a great stupidity. Mankind has taken a completely wrong turn in his evolution. We are living upside down, back to front, and inside out. And this is the cause for all our individual as well as collective global suffering. What does society intend for each of us? Why are we educated? What is the point or the purpose of our short lives? Why is there so much pain and suffering everywhere? Why does humanity battle and kill humanity? What is and why are we afraid of death? We can ascertain what society has intended for us easily enough by carefully studying the pattern of mandated education we are all forced to endure. This is no education to install a connection in the life of a child's mind to intelligence. This is no education to foster an appreciation for the beauty and the mystery of life. This is no education to bring into being a life of contented joy and peace and relationship between all of humanity. This is not an education fostering a sense of care for others and of encouraging concern and responsible action for our lives. Our education has two aims: to make us employable and to dumb us down, to remove from our lives intelligent action, which may only ever come from one's own investigation, understanding, and true vision of life. Our education conforms us to so many debilitating, injurious life psychological habits. We become rooted to living in memory, following school, and the eternal insistence that we spend at least 12 years living in memory. We become unable to forge a life for ourselves, as we have been previously conditioned to always be required to follow the support of an authority. In the classroom, of course, the authority is the teacher. In life, the politician, royalty, the priest, the doctor, the scientist. There are so many authorities and experts to choose from. Our system of education gives rise to these many questionable experts in our lives. It takes away our own responsibility for our own understanding, for our lives, and places our responsibility into the hands of paid experts. We become gears in a never-ending competitive economic cog, generating wealth for some rich master, bank, church, corporation, government, or royal family to profit from. Our education brings us to a strong sense, a need almost, to compete and battle against my brothers and sisters. Never to help, never to cooperate. Life becomes a battle, a race to accumulate more than any other. Our education ties us to the past. We are educated into a line of traditional religious continuity of a belief, or we are not. We are educated to find a sense of security in patriotic ideologies, which is a feeling of belonging to the piece of divided ground we were born onto. Little about our education comes to help us in life. Perhaps the ability to talk a language, to write, and to count. Little about our education helps us in life. The structure of our education has had a nefarious impact on the unfoldment of our lives and the psychological and relationship difficulties we meet within them as we grow into adulthood, onto old age, and our inevitable journey to death, our communal terminal demise. Our education also instills within us a totally corrupted, pointless, and missing the mark approach to life, which ensures that at some point we will all end up suffering a lot of psychological pain, and perhaps ongoing, continuous psychological problems. The yearly sales of psychiatric drugs, pleasing pharmaceutical giant corporations, are a direct indicator of the true impact our education has had on our psychological lives, a very poor one. We are educated and encouraged every step of the way to see life as a process of continuing growth, a process of becoming something, a process of achievement, a process of self-interest and accumulation. Become something is what this life is all about, apparently. At least it has been to now, according to our society. How we worship success. It is not important to us how success is achieved, or even if it has been achieved at all. What is important is that we all strive to become something greater tomorrow than what we have been yesterday and what we are today. This is instantly recognizable as the pattern, the modus operandi of our inner psychological nature, as well as our greater societal structures at large. We all seek to become. This is our conditioned, programmed pattern to life, educated deeply into each one of us. Beyond this psychological psyop conditioning training passing as education, born from the elitist conceived structure of what constitutes acceptable education, there lies a life we were truly born into, a natural life, a life of a natural-born organism, which is what we all are, into this natural universe. How does the movement of our natural life fit with the conditioned psychological approaches to life we are all educated to live and remain within? It does not. Our education terminates our natural connection to life, which can only be found in this creative living moment. There is no time to life. It is always now. Time is educated into us. It is needed psychologically to become. And so we live our lives in increasing and burdensome great illusions. The moment a child is born, that child is already dying. Life moves naturally to death. Death is an ending, a letting go of everything, an ending, never a continuity towards greater magnificence in time. Life and death live and die in infinite relationship. Yet, because we have placed value on the decadence of becoming, which requires infinite continuity to become into a never-ending future, our deaths, which are truly the designed destination by life for our lives, have become a fearful and deeply feared life inconvenience. How we come to suffer because of that which we were naturally born to meet. And this is all an end result of a pathetically limiting to life design system of education, an enslavement more than an education. Watching life, all of life, man's life, your life, a natural life, brings to the mind a certain wisdom. One begins to understand life and death for and by oneself, not from any book, not from any teacher, not from any expert, but from one's own patient, deliberated and uncontaminated investigation. And if one takes the time, has the time, and the patience, one can learn many things. One learns from seeing, never from thinking. Thinking is only the blind repetition of previously gathered knowledge in the format of thought. And if one takes the time, perhaps one will come to see that anything which continues in life, in its continuity, is gradually entering a process of deep decay. And so continuity is destructive to life. This is not something disturbing, but rather the natural process of life. For all things lead to end in death. Yet because we seek security only in educated programmed continuity and ever becoming more than we previously were, thanks to the dictates arising from previous century elitists' minds who designed our prison-like school structures, ending now takes on the appearance of an absolute terror. Continuity and self-interested growth is now where our interests lie, and these have nothing to do with life. This is imaginary conceptual living, and imagination and concepts are not life. We have lived this way for thousands of years. We have institutions on this planet centuries old. In the case of British royalty, even over 1,000 years old, in their never-ending continuity, self-interested to the extreme, in their breaking down constantly into greater decadence and into inevitable decay. Life ever seeks to bring continuity to an end. That which continues decays in life. This is natural law. And that which continues enters a process of decay. Decay is evident as age ages all, and as death seeks ever the ending and completion of all. Mankind's very approach to life, his educated psychological existence, stands against and opposed to the natural laws of this universe. Could this be why we live in such continual conflict, disorder, and deep sufferance? Perhaps it is ending we need to understand more than continuity. Continuity has led us here. What is the point? Is there any point in spending every energy of life in seeking illusory, isolated device of success, when life will end for all of us in its very destruction, the complete termination even of what we are? Why are our lives not lived in a reduction rather than in an accumulation? For in the end, we must give it all back. Are we afraid of natural order? Do we not trust the movement of life and death? Is death truly the evil our society portrays it as? Is this why we are eternally seeking to become something, then eternally seeking to continue that something we have become, thus encouraging breakdown and decay in our society through our eternal, infernal insistence of continuity? Our lives will never come to any revolution through any processes of becoming. Building back better is an ideology from childish minds with little life understanding and complete life adherence to educated principles of conformity, which truly only further damage our lives. How many times are we going to try to make our lives better in time before we inevitably come to understand it is only bringing to an end what came before, which has the only power to revolutionize our lives? It is ending which provides the new beginning. It is continuity which is the very movement behind seeking success, which leads our lives today and so our society into greater decay. For death must come to all, even to those clinging to continuity in this existence for over 1,000 years. Death will come to all. A monarchy may reign for over 1,000 years. At some point, that monarchy must come to end, for life seeks the end and the completion of all in death. This is life's truest of levelling up, far superior to any lying politician's duplicitous words. Can we bring this needed ending to our society? It is only when every movement of continuity ends that we will have any possibility to meet anything new. For continuity is movement of the old. This pattern of continuity is our society and is our inner psychological educated structure of time and thinker and thoughts. The only chance we have is to bring a complete ending to our own inward continuity, to refuse to live personally, individually, in any other time than now, the only time there is, and the only time we may ever act, to see success for what it is, a trap, a useless division between people, necessitating this background of life existence, and to understand that it is only when the destructive, divisive, self-interested and battling energies long standing within our society, each seeking their own pointless, divisive continuity, have come to a complete ending, that we may truly begin to live differently. Unless a man be born again, he cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Unless a disordered, brutal society ends its every divisive movement, no orderly society may ever come into being. The death of the old is what allows the new to take hold. All else is modified continuity, and so a continuity of continuing, and advancing decay. It all seems rather hopeless until one realizes that our inner psychological approach to life is what orders our world, and our world is in disorder because our inner psychological states are a continuing process of decay, leading to disorder. And they are a process of disorder because they work opposed to natural order, educated into us. Think about this. Born free, but not permitted to remain free for long. Natural order is not becoming. Natural order is to end becoming, to allow space and silence and deep relationship to this creative present moment in life, relationship for the new to grow. We each have a part to play. We are each programmed to this nonsensical, never-ending movement of inner words and images, this great waste of psychological conflicting energy, which comes from a mind programmed to perpetually living within memory, seeking its own limited growth and future betterment in a process of never-ending continuity. This is the very root of all of our societal disorder. What continues comes naturally to decay, and our minds are a process of inner continuity. This is where we meet our own pointless continuity of life, and this is the only area we may come to impact our lives. For it is never in continuity that one finds completion. It is in ending the old, which is memory, which is thought, which brings new quality to life. And the new can never be continuous, for then it would no longer be the new. Our new world has its potential held within the understanding and the ending of our old world. How can anything new ever arise without the ending of that which previously had destructive decaying continuity? And our old world arises from the thinking which lives inside of each of us. Our thinking is the very process of continuity in time, which, as previously explained, is a process which must come to decay, a process born from mandated education. The inner thought-based processes of life are not natural to the lives of humanity. This is educated and traditional, accepted approach to life, and it is killing us. It is when we bring an end, if this is even possible, to our own inner educated, continuous, egotistical, programmed movements of self-interest that we come to meet a new mind. It is the death of the mind which came before, which will give birth to a new mind, and this is a natural pattern of life. We need end, not continue anymore, and if we can end, we will meet a different quality of mind to that which came before, which is absolutely essential. For only a brand new quality of mind, devoid of selfishly led, self-interested, divisive and conflicting endeavours rooted in self-interested accumulation over fictional time, will ever be capable of building a better world than this one, and building it now, not in any imaginary future. Looking to thought to extricate our life difficulties is the very worst thing we could ever possibly do. The greatest of all mistakes, not the greatest of resets. For this inner process is the process of our individual and so divisive continuity, and so the process involved in the ongoing conflicts, breakdown and decay of our society. It is this process which must end, not be brought into being in another conceived version of a tired out movement of traditional continuity, which must inevitably come to meet an end. In ending the society which came before, we find our new life. In the ending of the troubled, self-seeking, conflicted, desirous, fearful, pleasure-seeking, ambitious, and totally self-interested, educated mind our society instilled within our developing brains, we come to find a mind of silence, what life intended for us. A mind capable of meeting life without choice, without bias, without prejudice, and so without conflict. A mind void of self. A selfless mind. A selfless mind is the only thing which will build a selfless world. And mankind may at long last, come into balance with this living, beautiful, and dying universe, reborn in complete understanding of his place within it. And in such complete understanding, far from being a feared and unwanted ending to an otherwise continuous mundane movement of a never-ending psychological me, death is truthfully the greatest of all liberators to life. Unless man be born again, he cannot enter the kingdom of heaven, unless a society be born again. And for this to happen, the old society must die. Will we ever be in any position to change a single thing? Change demands an ending. To plan for change is a continuity, and so a movement into further decay and destruction. And this is the Great Reset. The root of that which needs changed is inside of each of us, in every whisper of every inner word and every image which passes through repetitive, conflicted human consciousness. Bring this mind to revolution, and we bring our society to the freedom we desire. For the roots of our enslavement are within us, every bit as much as they are external to our lives. These are eternally related movements, and we will only find a world of great freedom, beauty, life, love, and yes, death, when we end the decaying continuity of that which we have ever carried, of that which came before, of that which is past and so holds no value to this present living moment of life, to that which is living in rotting decay. Thought is memory. Thought is what came before. It is this inner psychological movement we need come to understand and to figure out how to end. And then, and only then, will we ever come to the life which life intended for us.